Hi, and welcome everybody to another edition of the Winner's Circle Sports Betting Podcast. It's Monday, October the 10th. And the good news is it's Monday. And the other good news, Doug Upstone is joining us from DocSports.com. Doug, how was your weekend, my friend?
It was very good, Ross, and we got a lot of good stuff coming our way. The had a really nice NFL Sunday at 3-1, and hit my big play with the Dallas Cowboys as the
Nice.
underdog. So
Yeah.
that was good. Saturday wasn't as good. I was good the earlier games week. Saturday just didn't go my way. Couple of not so great picks, and then also just whatever. But hey,
Yeah.
you know what? We just we just continue to pick up the pieces,
Yeah.
and then what do we got coming up this weekend, Ross? We're going to hit the ice this weekend with some hockey, or this week, I should say.
Yeah.
Tuesday, we start with hockey and getting going. A week from Tuesday, we got the NBA, and I'll talk about that later in terms of really looking forward to the NBA season and even hockey. I three handicapping titles since 2014-15 season. So let's just see if we can turn it back up again and get it going. So excited about that. And Major League Baseball.
Playoffs.
Finished 3 out of 4 underdogs win in the wild card round.
How about that?
I don't know who's going to be in this round. Hard to find one, to be perfectly honest, but it's going to happen. I would think one of them is going to go down. I'm not sure which one. Got kind of a lean on one, but
I mean, I'm thinking Cleveland's got a good shot against the Yankees. That's my opinion. And I'm a diehard Yankee fan. I'll tell you.
I would agree with you.
Yeah, I mean, Garrett Cole has not pitched good down the stretch. Severino has, but they haven't hit with any consistency. Yes, they have a lot of power. Cleveland's got a nice starting rotation, and they got a solid bullpen. They can match up with them very well.
Yep.
And
5 games too.
Yeah, and it's in a short series. You just never know. I mean, again, I'm not going to call for that to be. Don't hold me to that. I'm just saying, off the top of my head, if there's an underdog in this round that jumps out at me, it might be Cleveland against the Yankees. But I could tell you this: all 4 games tomorrow, favorites of 190 or greater. You know. It makes my life so difficult, Doug. I just can't pull the trigger on
and run lines in playoff games.
Yeah, I know.
Take some courage.
Yeah, if it's a pitching mismatch, but how many pitching mismatches do you really get in the postseason at postseason time? You might catch one here and there. Especially if a team is coming off a 3-game series in the opening round. And they had to use their top 3 guys and they're playing on 1 day of rest. Well, you're most likely going to have the number 4 or number 5 guy out there. San Diego might fall into that category. You have Clevenger. He's really struggled against who they playing in.
I think is Uriah. I didn't even look. Is Uriah starting? I'm assuming so.
They had Kershaw listed, and now
that could
the
be.
Last I looked, though, I looked at sportsmemo.com where the live odds wager talk, same thing. And LA did not have a listed starting pitcher yet.
Okay.
So, and then when I was doing my work at Fox Sheets, I saw they had Kershaw listed, but I don't go by them because they're, they make their original write-ups and they leave things alone. So anyway, nothing against the guys from Fox Sheets.
No.
I use them extensively, but
Yep.
Who he could rely on in certain moments, like when it comes to starting pitching matchups. I do not rely on Fox Sheets to give me the proper information on a starting pitcher, and then if a pitching change is made, it seems like they leave the original starting pitcher up. I don't know.
Yeah,
anyway.
At times I have seen that myself. Yep.
Yeah,
I know exactly what you mean.
I
don't really have whenever you see a pitching, I have never found one reliable place I know that I can go to. I mean, I go, MLB.com. Sometimes they don't even have it correct, so I mean,
Wager Talk does a great job with that.
Do they? Okay.
Yeah, because they do so much business, Doug, in their odds. I mean, I know that how they are with us as handicappers is they're really strict on starting pitchers. A lot of sites will go, starting pitching, starting pitchers that get removed or scratched, I should say, is a better term, and put another start. The situations that happen are very limited. We're just going to grade these on action. Well, I like the way Sports Memo does it, because my basis and foundation when I do the Major League Baseball handicapping is starting pitching. I mean, it all starts there.
Of course.
It doesn't rely solely on that. But, if you're taking out a number one starter and you're scratching them 20 minutes before game time and you're sticking in, look, if you're going to scratch a starting pitcher late, there's a good chance you're not using anybody else that's in your rotation. Right. It's going to be a bullpen guy. It's going to be bullpen by committee. It's going to be a minor leaguer that got called up in an emergency recall because of an injury. So anyway, we're talking too much about that. Let's go. We got a couple college football picks for you. One on Friday between SMU and Navy. And the other one, Doug's going to cover the Florida State and Clemson game. And I'm real interested to hear what he has to say about that game. Before we get to that, though, folks, real quick reminder, if you have not subscribed to our YouTube channel, take a second to do so. It costs you absolutely nothing. There's no strings attached. There's no hidden agenda. There's no subscription plans. And you're privy to guys like myself and Doug Upstone, one of the finest handicappers you'll find anywhere. From DocSports.com. We also have Sean Higgs from PicksandParleys.net. We have Jesse Schul from Sports Memo and PicksandParleys.net. And we have Big Al McMorty, who's been around forever and a day, like I like to tell him. He started when his name was Little Al. Now he's Big Al. That's how long he's been in the business. Anyway, I'll leave it at that. Okay, Doug. Before we get to our picks, one other thing, don't forget to give us a like at the end of the videos, folks. It's not like we're getting paid an enormous amount of money to do these videos, and we're not complaining. We do get paid, but not an enormous amount. So your token of appreciation would be nice if you give us a like, okay? Thank you, and I appreciate all of you who have subscribed, and for all of you who will subscribe during the course of this video or after. All right, Doug, it's your turn, buddy.
Well, I second that motion on that one as well. It's just always good to have people, and also try and comment as often as I can to just stop in and let people know we appreciate exactly you doing what Ross just said. So we got a big game on Saturday night on ABC with Clemson at Florida State. Now, the Seminoles are, I think, dramatically better than what they have been the last several years. Okay. Mike Norvell has done an excellent job. He took a lot of crap early, and some of it was deserved, but he got rid of all the deadwood out of the program. He brought in better athletes. He brought in football players. Two big things. You can bring in athletes, but if they can't play football, it doesn't do you any good. So now they're coming off, the Seminoles are 2 tough losses. Okay. Wake Forest and against NC State. So the chances of winning the ACC Atlantic are pretty slim, but they could make a major statement, okay, in terms of the football program with an upset of Clemson. Florida State comes into this one. Last I looked, they were plus 3.5 in this contest. Now, Clemson, I don't know that they're back to the level right now that they were when they won 2 national championships in 3 years. But you know what? They're a lot better than last year's team, that's for sure. Now, the offense, it's not electric. They're only ranked 53rd in total yards, but their key to their success is how efficient they are. And they're 5th in the country in yards per point. So that explains why they're averaging 39.3 points per game. I'm going to do my best on this one because it's not an easy one. Quarterback, DJ Uganlalale. I still got that wrong.
It's close, wrong. Close enough.
I got at least I got the vowels right. But you know what? He's regained his swagger, okay, from when he played with a freshman. His confidence is way up. And so his throwing has gotten more accurate, and the weight loss that he had in the offseason has made him a better threat as a runner. Now, defensively, Ross, these two teams are very similar. Clemson comes in 28th nationally, Florida State 29th in yards allowed. Though the numbers are close, I think this is really where the difference in the game is. The Noles are giving up 156 yards per game rushing on the ground. But in the 3 best rushing teams they have faced, they've given up 202 yards per game, and that was against Louisville, Wake Forest, and NC State. Clemson, now, not a great running team, but only 52nd but I think they're going to have an opportunity to really run the ball better, because one of the things that for Florida State that they don't do well, and when they make mistakes on defense, it has to do with lane assignments. So they over pursue, they get caught up in the wash, so to speak. And so that's a problem for them. Clemson comes in number 2 in the country in rush defense. Okay. They just have shut down everybody. Now, Florida State averages over 200 yards rushing, but one of the things is that defensive line of Clemson is back to the status that we expect. They attack the opposing team's offensive line. Their linebackers run to the ball, and if you want to try and run wide, forget about it. Yeah. Their pursuit is just off the charts.
Nothing's changed in that regard. Yeah, you know what I mean, Doug? Nothing's changed in that regard. Their lateral speed on defense is good luck going to the perimeter against them. I'm sorry, I had a
exactly. Yeah, no question there. Now the Tigers secondary isn't great. We saw that against Wake Forest, but they're talented. They've improved, okay, especially in their last game, got a little bit healthier. And even though Jordan Travis, the quarterback for Florida State, he's shifty, he can create some problems. I'm just not sure that they're going to have what it takes in this one. So 3/4 of a game, okay, I think it's going to be really close. But that's when the Clemson's big game experience comes into play. This team, they're coming off a win by 28 or more points. They're coming off a win by 28 points against BC. They're 32-13 on the road in their next game. And they don't turn the ball over, okay? And so they have 4 turnovers in 6 games. And Florida State is 3-12 against teams that commit in this case, the number is 3/4 of a turnover, but they're 3-12 against teams that do that. I think the Tigers go into Doak Walker and they walk out a 10-point winner. So I'm going to take Clemson minus a 3.5 against Florida State.
Clemson minus 3.5 over Florida State from Doug Upstone. You know, Florida State coming off that tough loss last week. They were upset at home. 3-point loss. And talking about the quarterback, Travis, I have no idea. I don't know if you watched the end of that game, Doug. I
did not. No,
All right. So they had 3rd down on the 17. They're down 3 and in field goal range, about 20-something seconds to go. And he goes back to pass and he throws an out. And I don't know who he was throwing it to. There was nobody open. But the defensive back could have made a fair catch on it, you know, so it cost them the game, you know, and they always say, whatever you do, if you're in field goal range with an opportunity to tie, you know, leave that option open, throw the ball away. So when you were talking about big game experience with Clemson, that's why I brought that up. And to me, I always look to fade teams. Again, I don't do it all the time, but fade teams that are coming off heartbreaking losses. And Florida State certainly qualifies in that regard. And I can't disagree with that pick whatsoever. I think Clemson's, as Doug pointed out so astutely, Clemson's big game experience and their speed on defense will be the telltale sign they'll cover this game. All right, I'm going to take a look at Navy and SMU. And folks, just a reminder, this game goes on Friday evening at 7:30 p.m. Eastern time. These are a pair of teams that are 2-3 right now. The game will be played in Dallas, Texas, home of the SMU Mustangs. SMU got off to a 2-0 start, and then the things went awry, for lack of a better phrase, as they're 0-3 straight up in ATS in their last 3 games. Failed to cover all of those games as an underdog, but they did face really tough competition in Maryland, TCU, and Central Florida, and the latter of which they were blown out last week, 41-19 against Central Florida, and they had a lead of 13-10 in that contest, and they just faded away in the second half. Now, if you're wondering why the line is 13.5, that's exactly the reason why. They played very, very tough competition, and the odds makers still aren't convinced with Navy, and you can't blame them in a way. But, you know, a Navy team that started 0-2, and I said, here we go again. This is going to be another horrible team like last year from Navy. But lo and behold, the Midshipmen have bounced back nicely, Doug. They've covered their last 3, all as an underdog. As a matter of fact, they won 2 of those 3 games straight up. Their only loss was against Air Force 17-14 as a somewhere around a 14 to 17 point favorite, if I recall. And last week, they just throttled Tulsa at home as a home underdog of plus 4.5. The Midshipmen won that game 53-21 as a 4.5 point home underdog, and they rushed for 455 yards in that game, more like Navy football that we're used to seeing. And now they're facing an SMU team that in their 4 games versus FBS opponents this year are allowing 195 yards per game rushing. Navy has their question marks when it comes to their defense, but Doug, you can't score if the other team's got the ball like 40 minutes a game. And I look for that to be a distinct possibility in this contest. I look for Navy to have a lot of success running the ball against SMU. Having done that, they're going to control time of possession, keep the ball out of SMU's explosive offensive passing attack, especially they're not facing a Big Ten or a Big 12 team like they have in the last few weeks. They're facing a team within their own conference that struggles stopping a potent passing game. But again, I think Navy's running game will be their best defense because they'll be on the field for 2/3 of the game or close to that, in my opinion. And additionally, this is a Navy team, Doug, that started when they're in their 0-2 start. They were -5 in turnover differential. In the last 3 that they've covered, winning 2 of the 3 as underdogs, they're a +6 in that department. So look for that to be a factor in the game as well. And anytime you have a college football road team that's coming off a home dog straight up win by 14 or more, like Navy is, and they're facing an opponent like SMU coming off a conference straight up loss by 21 or more, lo and behold, those road teams have gone 22-4 straight up. That's 84.6% since 2012. Ross, why are you giving me a straight up betting angle? Because it supports the double-digit underdog, you dummy. That's why. Anyway, I'm taking Navy plus the 13.5 over SMU. And Doug Upstone, he is on Clemson minus the 3.5 on the road over Florida State. Doug, your thoughts?
Well, I like your pick a lot. I'm in complete agreement with it. Before we even did this, I knew that you were going to take that game, so I just tried to look up some information on it, and basically you covered everything that I think that could happen here. Just the other, I think the key thing to me, I mean everything you said, but the turnover margin after not really forcing any turnovers, Navy's forced 10 turnovers in these 3 games.
Yeah.
So they're doing something different defensively than what they were. And, the SMU is not above throwing the ball around. And if they get a little bit lazy or some guys run some lazy routes, those can turn into interceptions. Navy could get the ball right back. And all of a sudden they're going to have time of possession for 5 to 7 minutes again. Exactly what you talked about. So no, makes sense to me, Ross.
Yep. And tell the folks where they could find you, Doug, and how you've been doing of late and what you may have coming up or in store this coming week.
Okay. So, we obviously will have football yet again this upcoming week. Said coming off a nice 3-1 NFL week and looking just to continue on that pace in particular. Got some work to do. We're basically at the halfway point of the college football season, but got a long way to go. And so just looking to get that squared away. Also, baseball, 24-14 run. Happy with that. And so we go into the next round of the playoffs. Yes, Ross is right about game 1. Nothing easy coming that way, especially with all those heavy money lines. But hey, we'll see if we can find an underdog maybe or sneak in a total on that as well. Yeah. So that'll be coming each and every day. And along with that, we also have hockey coming up. And as a hockey aficionado, I have different monitors that I've been a part of. I've won 3 titles since the 2014-2015 season. So made some adjustments. Last year wasn't my best season. So made some adjustments, looking to turn things around and get that going in the right direction as well. So Ross, I'm excited about this upcoming week yet again. Why don't you tell the folks exactly what you've been up to of late?
Well, thank you, Doug. And I will say this. Hopefully you don't have to take that black book out for NHL overtime losses this year.
It's got its own section.
As good as you are, I never seen a guy with bad luck when it comes to games going overtime like Doug has. But I mean, look at the guy's won 4 titles in NHL over the last decade or so. So the proof is in the pudding there. Despite some tough losses in between, he has a lot of wins. Anyway, thank you for asking me, Doug. I'm coming off a 3-1 Sunday in the NFL. Quite happy with that. I just missed the 4-0, Doug. Just missed it as Carson Wentz throws an interception on 3rd and goal from the 2-yard line with like 10 seconds to go. Yeah. Oh, man. If they score there, it's a 4-0 day, but it wasn't, okay? And I had a 10-star top play on the Cincinnati Bengals last night, plus the 3.5. They lose by 2. They get the cover. And my NFL 10-star top plays right now, folks, 6-0 on the year. My NFL primetime games, night games, Sunday, Monday, and Thursday nights, 8-2, including 8-1 the last 9 this season. And my NFL overall, this regular season, 20-10. That's good for 67%. That'll make you a lot of money. College football, need to pick it up a little bit, just 19-16 to start. But those of you who know me know, usually as the season winds down, I get very hot in college football. So looking forward to that. 39-26 between the NFL and college football. 61%. Major League Baseball, 6-0, including 1-0 in the playoffs, as I had a winner with the Cleveland Indians last Friday in game 1 of that series. And so look for some Major League Baseball and plenty of football coming up this week. I'm not an NHL handicapper during the regular season. I do it during the playoffs. I love the NHL. It just, there's so much time in a day, and I give my buddy Doug Upstone a lot of credit because he finds time to do all this stuff and do it successfully. Doug, we'll be back on Thursday. We'll be covering the NFL then. Look forward to that. Maybe we'll have a little more to say on the developments in the Major League Baseball playoffs and what the NBA season will be approaching. The NHL season had by then it'll be 2 days in. So looking forward to it, buddy.
Yeah, no question about it, Ross. It's going to be, well, it's that time of the year. There's a lot going on, but you know what? It's also a fun time of year. And there's also a lot of opportunity. Let's just face it. I mean, nobody wins all the time, but if you have an opportunity to win, it's a great time to step in and see what you can do with it.
Yeah, very good. Doug Upstone, DocSports.com. Check him out, folks. Invest some money in him. This guy will make you a lot of money. All you need to do is be patient, be disciplined, and you'll do fine. You can find me at rbwins.com. I went through all my records. As a matter of fact, folks, since August 10th, all sports, I'm on a 60% run. You know how good I'm doing in the NFL. College football, don't worry about it. We're only 3 games over 500, but we're going to pick it up. And then Major League Baseball playoffs. What better way? It's just an exciting time to be a sports handicapper. Say goodbye to your wife for a couple months, and I'll see you in a little while. Anyway, until the next time, for Doug Upstone and Ross Benjamin, we like to wish each and every one of you all the very best. Take care, God bless, and good luck.